So my story. I was going to go get a wax, and backstory. Backstory is that I had a young lady, and oh my God, I loved her so much. I just loved her because she was my first one that actually ever done my wax. And when I tell you, I would just brag about her, and I just thought she was just just awesome. Well, long story short, I don't know. They just got really busy, and they got to the point where they weren't the same as when they was just starting out. Okay, so I don't know. Like it was hard to book an appointment, and I'm for growth. I'm for people to get to grow, be great in what you do, and kudos to her. Okay, so I couldn't get my appointment in. So I don't know. Maybe this is the reason why we're actually doing this story now. The story is based off of transitioning. Okay, and I was so upset about it. So I had my daughter. I said, okay, so do you know anybody? And she said, you know what? I got two places. Try these two places. Okay, so the first time I went to the first place, I was like, okay, you know, it was good. It was great. Okay. So when it was time to come back again, I was like, okay, I couldn't remember where I went. And so I went back to my daughter again. I said, well, what was that place that I went to that last time? And she was like, I don't remember. It had to be these out of these two places. So I tried the second location, and I called them and I asked them, do they have my information? Because if they got my information, then this was the place. So when I looked it up on the GPS, it had a picture of the plaza, and I was like, okay, that looked like the plaza. And so I went on and made an appointment. Okay. So I get to the place. I get to the wax place, and as soon as I walked in the door, it was great. The flow was going great. Everything was going great. Okay, so I go in, and the lady was real nice and real polite and everything, and she go through the whole little formalities. You take off your stuff, everything from down. Okay, and so I took off my things and everything, and I was feeling very comfortable. It was very comfortable. And I'm the type of individual that don't like that kind of um put yourself out there like that. But because I'm spoiled with it now and I like how it feels when I get it done, I gotta have it done. Okay. So I just go just come outside of myself and just go get it done. Okay. Because once I'm done, I'm like, oh, like a brand new baby. Okay. So laying down on the table, and the lady comes in, and really nice, really nice. We say hello. She asked me, how I'm doing. All the chit chat, the little small talk chit chat that happens in the beginning phase of everything. Okay, and so she goes in and start out, and she says, how how are you doing? I said, I'm doing great. And she starts in with her stuff, and she get everything together. And I like it when people start try to talk you through everything, because it is painful sometimes. Okay, especially those 2 3 swipes. Oh, they get painful. Let me tell you something. She This woman was so good. She was so good. I I think she only just probably like did like, I want to say 2 swipes, but I'm gonna just say 3 just for the sake of it. When I tell you, I was like, "You done?" Like, it had to be about like 3 swipes. Like, I I want to say 2, but I'm just gonna give it 3. But when I tell you, the lady was amazing. But here's the crazy of it all was, I know it was about 2 strokes, but I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna say 3. But absolutely amazing. Okay. I didn't feel it. Like I don't know what she did, but I don't know what she did. I don't know, but that thing was amazing. So before I turned over, like during the process, we was having this conversation, and she asked me. She said, because I told her I had gave her I said that I haven't been in a while because I had been traveling. Okay. And so she picked up off of that conversation, and she was like, what do you do that you travel? And I told her, I said, I'm a hairstylist. And she said, oh wow, a hairstylist. I said, yep, I'm a hairstylist. And I'm a personal, and I have one client that I maintain. And she was like, "Oh, that's so awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm really blessed. I'm really blessed." And she was like, get how did you get in that process?" And so in the midst of these 2, 3 swipes, now this is what's happening, because I'm bracing myself, but at the same time, I'm feeling trying to figure out why I ain't really gotta brace myself, but I'm going in with the conversation. And she was like, how did you get to that? And I said, it's all about transitioning. I said, it's really about transitioning. And the way the conversation was going, I could feel her. And I don't know what was, at first the conversation was just going in a way where she was just asking questions, but then I understood that the questions felt like you was pulling an answer out of me. And so when I normally get that feeling, then I know that something is happening, you know. And now I got to be obedient, and I got to tune in, and I got to be able to see why this woman is saying these things, and why this woman is doing these things, and I got to be obedient to why we actually met. And so I tuned in, and I was like, okay, it's something happening. And so I told her, I said, well, you know what? It's all about transitioning. It's all about transitioning. I said, because there's a moment in every transition where it's three things that happens. You ask for a certain thing, and after you start getting your coordinates together and you start going in the route, there's another thing that happens. You get closer to your destination, and as soon as you arrive in your destination, you're sitting in your destination, and you work in your destination. And then once you have mastered that destination, it's time to go to the next destination. Because ultimately, if you're like me, I'm always saying, allow me to be perfectly expressed. Like, I want to be perfectly expressed. So, with that being said, that means you're going to probably have a lot of transitioning. Okay. And one part of the transitioning stage that that is really kind of challenging is when you have mastered one, and then now it's time for you to be able to go into that next one. Because I remember when I was at that stage of understanding that I needed to now walk away from my chair, and I knew that I started speaking to my clients, and I started saying to my clients, I'm only going to do one client. I'm only going to have one client. And my clients was, of course, if anybody have ever been my client, they know. Okay. When I start speaking on something, my heart gets set, and I'm ready to just, okay. Because it's that little thing that sits on my shoulders, and that thing that says, hey, we need you to go do some work over here. And I'm always being obedient to a call. I'm always being obedient to a call. And ever since I've gotten into this industry or into this field, I have always been open to being obedient to where I need to be with my gifts. And like right now, even to this day, the first thing I say before I even touch anything or anybody, I'm always saying, how may I be obedient? What would you have me to do? And I would say, how may I serve you? Because I wanted to always be outside of the situation. Like the situation is one thing. Like when you arrive to the building is just material and the stuff. But the service and the attitude of the service is a whole nother different thing. So when I pull up, I'm not pulling up because, oh my God, I'm here to do what you want me to do. No, ultimately, in my mind, I'm here to serve. And I'm making sure that the higher power that I believe in sees my heart and understands my willingness and my obedience to serve and do what I was called to do at a specific location. That's the ultimate thing for me in my mind. Anywhere I'm going is that. Did I do what I was supposed to do when I got there? That's the ultimate thing for me. Was I able to give great service? Was I able to do exactly what you have called me to do in this particular space? Because I believe that the universe opened that space up for me to bring the particular type of service that it wanted me to do in that space. So all of this, we're having all of this conversation while I'm on the table and I'm just butt naked on this table, and this woman is sitting there with the wax in her hand, and I'm literally just sitting on the table like talking because I'm focused now. I'm focused in on making sure that I am here at this moment to give the service that I need to give to this particular woman because I'm now feeling this and understanding this, and I'm feeling her, and I'm feeling her need to know because of the way the questions was happening. And it was so amazing because, and then all of a sudden I looked at her, and here I am. I'm on the table, right? Getting this wax done. And I am just such a shy person. But I didn't feel none of that. At the moment, I felt like I needed to pour into this woman. So I began to say, you know what? You are absolutely amazing. Because I realized she only did like 2 or 3 swipes, and I was like, you are awesome at what you're doing. And then I felt something, and I sat down and I said, however, you give so much to people, and you give so much that you don't even have enough for yourself. And when I said that, all of a sudden, tears just start flowing down her face. And I was just like, oh my God. And she was like, this has never happened to me. And I was like, me either. Because she asked me, she said, how did you know that it was time? And I told her, I said, it's like following the breadcrumbs. You know, when you start following one crumb, that one crumb will lead you to the next crumb. And the next crumb will lead you to the next crumb. And then the next crumb will lead you to the next crumb. And then before you know it, your breadcrumbs is now a slice of bread. And before you know it, you done made a sandwich. Okay? And that sandwich is good. And then all of a sudden, that sandwich now becomes, you so good with the sandwiches that you popping out selling sandwiches, and now you done got to the point where you got a whole loaf. And then you get from the loaf to now you're popping out loaves, and now you're saying, you know what? I need a bread truck. And then you go from the bread truck to now I need a bread company. And then you like, okay, bread company. Okay. My system and everything I got is working so good. Guess what? I'm now in an option where I can sell my system. Or you can pass it down. It's really your choice. But in each one of those steps, there was a transition. And there was a moment where you had to make up your mind to be able to say, in my mastery of this place that I'm in right now, have I gotten myself so conditioned and so comfortable that I can't move to the next challenge? Because each step is going to be challenging. It's going to be extremely, extremely challenging, because it's almost like you have to restart all over. But you're not starting over, but you're starting over in this new space. And that new space might be a higher altitude. And the breathing might be a little more thinner. Okay? And it feels like, oh my God, why didn't I keep myself over here where I had gotten comfortable with breathing? Okay? And now I'm going to move myself over here and get uncomfortable with the breathing. And now I got to relearn how to breathe. Listen, as scary as it is and as scary as it seems, when it's time for you to transition, you got to do it. Because movement is life. Movement is life. You cannot stay stagnant. You cannot stay stagnant. And if you want to know what the definition of stagnant, if you are a sitting pond, like a little spot of water, and it's just a little puddle, and it's not flowing water, then you're sitting stagnant. Find a way to move your sitting spot of water. Find a way to move your water to a little stream. Or if you can manage to get it to a little stream, to a big ocean, and if you're brave enough, let it be the Atlantic. Okay? If you're brave enough. Because the only difference is that it might be bigger fish. Okay, it's okay. Those bigger fish once was a little fish. You're just a little fish that has to swim a little bit more, learn the terrain, learn how to figure it out, learn how to place yourself where you're supposed to be. And if you just go with the flow, you'll find your space. You'll find yourself in spaces